All right, so let's dive into something pretty crucial for keeping software projects, ahead of the game.
Mm.
Manual regression testing.
Right.
We're always updating software, always improving things.
Yeah.
Got to make sure we aren't introducing any, sneaky little bugs that can cause big problems down the line.
Yeah.
It's like that, that famous story,
Mm-hmm.
a Mars climate orbiter.
Oh, right.
$125 million spacecraft
Wow.
lost in space
Jeez.
just because of a simple unit conversion error.
Oof. Talk about a costly bug.
Yeah, that's a perfect example
Yeah.
of why manual regression testing is so important.
It really is all about making sure
Yeah.
that when we're adding all these, new features and bug fixes, that we're not accidentally breaking existing functionality.
Right. So it's like,
Think of it as a safety net.
okay.
Catching those bugs before they turn into major headaches.
So it's like double checking your work,
Uh-huh.
but for software.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting why it's important.
Yeah.
But why do we have to do it manually? Can't we just automate everything?
Well, automation's great. It's a valuable tool.
Yeah.
But there are just some areas where you really just need the human touch.
Okay.
Like imagine you're testing a new feature on an e-commerce site
Okay.
that lets users personalize their shopping experience.
Okay.
Automated tests can check if the functionality, works,
Yeah.
but they can't tell you if the interface is intuitive or if the personalization options even make sense to a real user.
So it's about those more nuanced aspects
Yeah.
of the user experience
Exactly.
that a machine might miss.
Right. Manual testing lets you step into the shoes of your users,
Okay.
see the software through their eyes, and identify,
Yeah.
potential usability issues that automated tests might overlook. And honestly, sometimes those automated tests can be a bit too rigid. They miss those edge cases or unexpected user behaviors that we humans are just so good at uncovering.
I see the value in that human element more and more.
Yeah.
But where do we even begin with manual regression testing? Is there like a roadmap we can follow?
There is.
Okay.
Think of it as a treasure map.
Okay.
Guiding you through this uncharted territory
Okay.
of your software,
Right.
leading to that buried treasure of bug-free code.
I like that.
So the first step is
Yeah.
really just understanding the scope of the changes that have been made.
Okay.
Like what modules were updated, what new features were added.
So like getting a blueprint
Yeah.
of our software's renovations.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need to know what's changed.
Right.
What's next on our treasure hunt?
Well, next we need to select the right test cases.
Okay.
You don't want to just randomly test everything, right?
Well-
That's like searching for treasure without a map.
Yeah.
We got to prioritize
Okay.
based on, what's most critical and likely to be impacted by those changes.
Right.
Imagine you're working on a financial trading platform
Okay.
and you just updated the algorithm for calculating risk scores.
Okay.
Well, you would want to prioritize testing scenarios that involve high risk transactions or sensitive customer data.
Absolutely.
Right.
You wouldn't want to test like the fun facts feature if you've just updated something as crucial as the risk calculation engine.
Yeah, exactly. Prioritization is
Yeah.
key in manual regression testing.
Okay.
And speaking of crucial, setting up the right testing environment is paramount. It's like building a replica
Oh, wait.
of your software's natural habitat,
Okay.
making sure everything behaves as it would in the real world.
Okay.
So imagine testing a mobile app designed for international travelers.
Okay.
You wouldn't just test it on a stable Wi-Fi connection,
Right.
would
yeah.
you?
Right. You would want to simulate.
You'd want to simulate different network conditions like roaming or low bandwidth to see how the app performs in those real-world scenarios.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be caught off guard
Okay.
by a sudden drop in connection when you're relying on that app to navigate a foreign city.
Exactly.
So we've identified the changes.
Uh-huh.
We've picked our test cases.
Yep.
We've built our testing environment.
Right.
Now what?
Now comes the exciting part.
Oh, wait.
Running the tests.
Okay, let's do it.
This is where we put on our detective hats
All right.
and we carefully execute each test case,
Mm.
comparing the actual results with the expected outcomes.
Okay.
It's like comparing a crime scene photo with your suspect's alibi.
Oh, I like that.
Every inconsistency is a clue
Okay.
that needs further investigation.
So we're looking for any discrepancies that might point to a hidden bug.
Precisely.
Okay.
And just like a good detective meticulously documents every piece of evidence,
Yeah.
we need to do the same with our testing process. So we take screenshots, record videos, write detailed notes on every step and every observation.
So it's not just about finding bugs.
Right.
It's about providing a clear and concise record
Uh-huh.
of what we found.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We need to make it easy for developers
Yeah.
to understand the problem, reproduce the bug,
Yeah.
and ultimately, squash it.
Yeah.
A well-documented bug report is like a clear set of directions leading the developers to the source of the problem.
So we've identified the changes, picked our test cases, set up our environment,
Right.
ran the tests,
Yep.
meticulously documented any bugs we've encountered, anything else.
One crucial step remains.
Okay.
Retesting those pesky bugs
Right.
once they've been fixed.
Okay.
It's like making sure the culprit's actually behind bars
Right.
and hasn't managed to make like a sneaky escape.
Yeah.
We need to verify that the fix worked and that it didn't introduce any new problems in the process.
So it's like a final checkup, making sure everything's running smoothly after the bug surgery.
Exactly. And once we've confirmed the fix,
Yeah.
we document the entire testing journey,
Okay.
creating a comprehensive report that tells the story of our investigation.
Okay.
This report becomes a valuable asset,
Hmm.
not just for the current release,
Yeah.
but for future testing cycles as well.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
Documentation is key.
It really is.
It feels like it's not just about the testing itself, but about creating this clear record of the process.
Absolutely. Documentation is the backbone of effective manual regression testing.
Okay.
It's like having a detailed map
Right.
of your software's terrain, allowing you to navigate, future updates and changes with confidence.
This all sounds pretty involved, to be honest. Are there any particular challenges people might run into when doing manual regression testing?
You're right. It can be quite demanding.
Okay.
One of the biggest challenges is just the sheer amount of time it can take.
Yeah.
Imagine having to manually retest
Yeah.
the entire checkout process of a large e-commerce website after every single code update.
I can see how that could quickly eat up a lot of time,
Yeah.
especially in those agile environments where updates are flying out the door.
Exactly. And that brings us to the crucial topic of prioritization,
Okay.
which we'll dive into further in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, I'm already taking notes.
Okay.
I'm eager to learn how to make this whole process more efficient and manageable.
Great. You're absolutely right when you mention those agile environments.
Yeah.
That rapid pace of development.
Yeah.
It can make thorough manual regression testing a real challenge.
It does seem like trying to hit a moving target sometimes. So how do we tackle that?
Yeah.
I'm all ears for any strategies to help us stay ahead of the game.
One of the most effective strategies is, like we touched upon earlier,
Prioritization.
Okay.
It's about being strategic
Yeah.
with our time and effort. We can't test everything.
Right.
So we need to focus
Right.
on the areas that pose the highest risk.
Okay. So how do we decide what to prioritize?
Right.
It's easy to say, focus on what's important.
Yeah.
But in a complex software system, everything can feel important.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's not always a black and white decision,
Right.
but there are some frameworks that can help us,
Okay.
guide our choices.
Okay.
One approach
Yeah.
is to use a risk-based assessment.
Risk-based assessment.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So essentially we analyze the potential impact of a failure
Okay.
and the likelihood of that failure actually occurring.
All right.
So for instance,
Yeah.
a minor visual glitch
Okay.
on a rarely used page might be low risk,
Okay.
but an error in the payment processing system
Right.
of an e-commerce site,
Yeah.
that's high risk. Definitely a visual glitch might be annoying,
Yeah.
but a payment processing error could mean lost revenue and frustrated customers.
Exactly.
So we're weighing the consequences of a bug against the probability of it actually happening.
Exactly. And this framework helps us allocate our testing resources wisely.
Okay.
So we focus our manual efforts on those areas where a bug would have the most significant impact. And then we can leverage automated testing for those lower risk areas.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we're using a blend of manual and automated testing,
Right.
each playing to its strengths.
Exactly.
But even with prioritization, manual regression testing can still feel,
Yeah.
repetitive. We're running the same tests over and over.
Right.
How do we prevent that from becoming,
Right.
well, mind-numbingly boring?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
So the key is to find ways to keep things fresh and engaging.
Okay.
So one approach is to,
Yeah.
rotate testers among different modules or features.
Okay.
This not only prevents monotony,
Yeah.
but it also helps testers develop, a broader understanding of the software.
So it's like cross-training for testers, helping them become more versatile
Exactly.
and well-rounded.
Another way to combat that repetition is to encourage testers to approach their work with a curious and exploratory mindset.
Okay.
So instead of just blindly following a script, they should be encouraged to think critically, ask questions, and, explore different scenarios.
So it's about encouraging them to be more than just testers?
Yeah.
They're becoming investigators, almost like detectives, searching for clues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this kind of exploratory testing can uncover subtle bugs that might have been missed by, more rigid scripted approaches. It's about fostering that culture of curiosity and continuous learning.
I like that.
Yeah.
A culture of curiosity. It sounds a lot more engaging than just mindlessly clicking through the same test cases over and over. But even with the best intentions and a curious mindset, there's always a chance we might miss something.
Right.
What are some of the common pitfalls we should be aware of in manual regression testing?
You're right. No tester is perfect.
Right.
And there are inherent challenges to manual testing.
Yeah.
One of the most common pitfalls is neglecting visual regression testing.
Visual regression testing.
Yeah.
Now, trains. That sounds intriguing. What is that?
It's about ensuring that changes to the code haven't inadvertently altered the visual appearance of the application.
Okay.
So imagine you updated a website styling.
Okay.
And suddenly the buttons are misaligned or the text is overlapping.
Right.
These visual bugs.
Yeah.
They might not break the functionality,
right,
but they can certainly detract from the user experience.
So it's about catching those aesthetic glitches.
Yeah.
That might slip through the cracks of purely functional testing.
Exactly. So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
Well, how do we...
Well, there are specific tools designed for visual regression testing.
Okay.
These tools take screenshots of the application before and after changes are made, and then they compare those screenshots pixel by pixel to identify any visual discrepancies.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like having an eagle eye that can spot even the smallest visual changes.
Exactly. And this type of testing is becoming increasingly important as we move towards more, visually rich and interactive web application.
Okay, visual regression testing check. What other pitfalls should we be aware of?
Another common challenge is managing complex test data.
What do you mean by complex test data?
Well, imagine you're testing a banking application that involves transactions, account balances, interest calculations, and so on.
Right.
To thoroughly test this application, you need realistic test data that mimics real-world scenarios.
Okay.
So generating this data and ensuring its accuracy can be a significant challenge.
So it's like setting up this realistic simulation of the financial world within our testing environment.
Precisely. And without accurate test data, our testing efforts might not uncover those bugs that could emerge in real-world scenarios.
So how do we overcome this challenge?
There are several approaches.
When you have a whole team contributing to it.
Absolutely. If everyone's using their own style and format,
Yeah.
it can quickly become a jumbled mess,
Right.
making it difficult to track progress
Yeah.
and understand the results.
So it's like having a bunch of different cooks throwing ingredients into the same pot without a clear recipe. It's likely to end up a culinary disaster.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So the key is to establish clear guidelines and standards for documentation.
Right.
Having a template for bug reports, test cases, and test summaries can help ensure consistency.
Okay.
And then using a centralized repository for all the documentation makes it easy for everyone to access and update information.
So it's about creating a system that fosters collaboration and clarity.
Exactly.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about prioritization, keeping things engaging, and avoiding common pitfalls.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom on best practices for manual regression testing?
Yeah.
Before we move on to the tools of the trade.
Absolutely. One overarching best practice that kind of encompasses everything we've talked about is communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So effective communication is crucial. Throughout that entire manual regression testing process, testers need to communicate clearly with developers, product managers, and other stakeholders.
So it's not just about, heads down testing in isolation.
Right.
It's about being an active participant in the broader development process.
Exactly. Testers should be involved early on in the development cycle, understanding the goals of new features and changes, and providing input on potential test scenarios. And during the testing process, open and frequent communication, helps ensure that bugs are reported effectively, fixes are verified promptly, and that everyone's on the same page.
Sounds like communication is the glue that holds this whole process together, ensuring that everyone is working towards the same goal, delivering high-quality, bug-free software.
Precisely. And when that communication flows smoothly, the entire development process becomes more efficient and enjoyable.
All right. I'm sold on the importance of communication.
Good.
Now I'm curious about the tools that can help us navigate the world of manual regression testing. We've hinted at some tools for visual regression and test data management.
Right.
But what other treasures lie within the tester's toolkit? It does feel like we've only just scratched the surface here of what's available. So what are some of those must-have tools that every manual regression tester should have in their arsenal?
Well, just like a master chef relies on a set of, trusty knives. A skilled manual regression tester needs the right tools to slice through those complex testing challenges. So one essential category is, as you mentioned, bug tracking tools.
These are the tools that help us keep track of all those pesky bugs we find during testing.
Exactly. Tools like Jira, Bugzilla, Mantis BT. They provide a centralized platform where we can log bugs, assign them to developers, track their progress, even generate reports. It's like having a virtual detectives board where we can piece together the clues and track down those elusive bugs.
So it's not just about jotting down notes on a sticky note.
Right.
We're using sophisticated tools to manage that whole bug life cycle.
Precisely. And these tools are invaluable for collaboration. Developers can see exactly what steps we took to reproduce a bug, what the expected behavior should be, any other relevant details.
So it streamlines communication and helps ensure that those bugs are fixed efficiently.
Exactly.
Okay, bug tracking tools are a definite must-have. What else?
Another essential category is test management tools.
Okay.
So tools like TestRail, Zephyr, and X-Ray, they can help us organize and manage our test cases. So we can create test suites, group test cases together, track their execution status, and generate reports on our testing progress.
So it's like having a project manager. For our testing efforts.
Exactly.
Keeping everything organized and on track.
And these tools can also help us with traceability. So ensuring that we have test coverage for all the requirements and features of our software. It's like having a safety net that catches any gaps in our testing.
Bug tracking tools, test management tools.
Yeah.
What else should we be adding to our testing toolkit?
Well, depending on the type of software you're testing, there's a whole host of specialized tools that can be really helpful. So, for example, if you're testing web applications, you might want to use browser developable tools to inspect the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code, which can help you pinpoint the root cause of those visual or functional bugs.
So it's about having the right tools for the specific job.
Exactly. And as we mentioned earlier, tools for visual regression testing are becoming increasingly important. These tools can automatically detect even the slightest visual changes, ensuring that our applications look, pixel perfect across different browsers and devices.
Sounds like the manual regression tester's toolkit is constantly evolving with new and innovative tools emerging all the time.
How do we stay ahead of the curve?
So how do we...
And choose the right tools for our needs?
That's a great question. It can be overwhelming.
It can.
With so many options out there. So how do we choose?
Well, the key is to start by understanding your specific needs and challenges.
Okay.
So what are the pain points in your current testing process? What types of software are you testing?
Okay.
What are your budget constraints?
Right.
Once you have a clear understanding of your needs,
Yeah.
then you can start researching and evaluating different tools.
So it's like choosing the right ingredients for a recipe.
Hmm.
You need to know what kind of dish you're making before you go shopping for groceries.
That's a perfect analogy.
And just like with cooking, sometimes it takes a bit of experimentation
Right.
to find that perfect blend of tools that work for you and your team.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to try out different tools. See what fits your workflow.
Okay.
And don't hesitate to ask for recommendations from other testers or online communities.
It sounds like the world of manual regression testing is this vibrant and ever-changing landscape with new challenges and new tools emerging all the time.
It absolutely is. And that's what makes it so exciting to be a part of. You know, there's always something new to learn, new tools to explore, new ways to improve our skills.
Well said. And, you know, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm struck by how much manual regression testing is about more than just finding bugs.
I agree.
It's about ensuring quality. It's about advocating for the user experience.
Yeah.
It's about being a critical thinker and a problem solver.
Absolutely.
It's about having a detective's mindset, a chef's attention to detail,
Right.
and a communicator's ability to articulate complex technical issues.
Exactly. And it's about being a lifelong learner, always seeking to expand our knowledge and refine our skills.
To all our listeners out there, whether you're just starting your journey as a manual regression tester or you're a seasoned pro, remember that this field is all about continuous learning and improvement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Embrace the challenges, stay curious, and never stop exploring the ever-evolving world of manual regression testing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And who knows, you might just discover that the skills you develop in testing can be applied to all areas of your life, helping you become a more critical thinker, a more effective communicator, and a more detail-oriented individual.
Absolutely.
That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.